Hey, what's up, Kitty Lifestyle? Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing. Hey, what's up, Kitty Lifestyle? All right. Audio looks good. Yeah, doing well. Yeah, the weather's nice over here in Los Angeles. It's not bad at all. It's 2:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I just got off work, so I noticed Donald Trump did some kind of a speech today, so I kind of want to check it out and watch it with YouTubeville. So feel free to tap in and share your opinions. Hit the like button. And then after this speech, looks like JD Vance did a speech as well today that I want to check out with YouTubeville. So we'll be hanging out for a little while, sharing our opinions, having some friendly banter. Yeah, whereabouts are you, Kitty? Are you in the United States? If so, what state? If you don't mind me asking. Oh, okay, cool. Upper Midwest, right on. Nice. Yeah, I think this speech is from North Dakota today. I heard that Indiana is turning blue. All right, without further ado, let's check out this. Oh wait, let me make a poll real quick. Let's see, what should I make this poll about? Let's see here. All right, I just started a poll. All right, let's get this party started here. About to make a coffee right now. Yeah, I haven't seen this either. Yeah, whenever I play something, whenever like I live stream playing something, I've never seen it before because I'll be damned if I watch any of this shit twice. LOL. So I'm always watching this stuff for the first time whenever I watch it with YouTubeville. Oh God, he's doing his opening with that song. All right, let me forward this. Nobody needs to see that. You gotta be kidding me with this song opening. Oh my goodness. He just stands there like a weirdo. All right, here we go. All right, this is the beginning. So I guess this is like a speech he's giving at. He's trying to one up Obama over here because he's probably all jealous that Obama had like a big library. So he's over here trying to take credit for Roosevelt's library.
Well, I want to thank everybody. This is an honor. We love you, and you've been so nice to me with those votes. We set every record in the book. But today we come to the heartland of America to pay tribute to a man who embodied the heart and soul and fight and spirit of our country as much as anyone who ever lived. And he's a very special man, and that's why I'm here, President Theodore Roosevelt. And he loved your community. He loved your state. And he was quite something. He was really quite something.
Hey, what's happening, Christian? Good to see you, pal. Hope you're doing well.
And here, beneath the wide open sky of the Badlands, they go, the Badlands. They said, what's that all about? It's pretty cool. It's a pretty cool name, I have to tell you. On the steps of the Burning Hills, we dedicate a living monument to a legend, a statesman, a soldier, frontiersman, and a true American hero. This is a very exciting thing for me. And number one, I have to tell you, because this was a inaugural flight of a certain airplane called Air Force One after 37 years. And it's a great plane, and we had a lot of fun with Doug and everybody coming over. But we talked about Theodore Roosevelt a lot because he was something that was really very special. Number two, because I'm honoring Theodore Roosevelt, and that's the man who I have long admired. He's one of the few. I don't admire too many people, I have to tell you. There's not a lot of people out there. And number three, I'm back in North Dakota because I won this state with the most votes in the history of the presidency. Thank you. Thank you very much. And number four, I have two teleprompters that aren't working, and here I stand. But TR once observed that I would not have been president about himself had he not been, and had it not been for the...
Hey, what's up? What's up, Jason Bender? Chuck Norris? Hey, didn't Chuck Norris pass away recently? Or R.I.P. Chuck Norris. Yeah, I guess the guy kind of does look like Chuck Norris, huh?
In North Dakota, he had a great experience here. It really shaped him so much. So there could be no better place for this new national treasure than the Rough Rider state. I met some of the Rough Riders. They are Rough Riders. They're good riders, too. They were very impressive. Today, 107 years after he passed into eternity, Theodore Roosevelt's Presidential Library opens its doors in the small town, but very great town, and today it's a very famous town because that's all they're talking about, of Medora. Opens its arms to the entire world. The entire world is watching. It's not a big town, but it's a very powerful town because of what was left behind. I want to thank the thousands of people who worked so hard to make this project a reality, and you really did. You made it a beautiful reality. Very few places will top it. And starting with the man who put the library in its first funding, think of it, did so much. He raised so much money. He did so many different things. He really did. He had a very complete life, when you think. He was a real man of many forms of genius, and without whom it would never have been possible, Secretary of the Interior. And I'll tell you what, I thought he was an oil man, and he wasn't. I saw him on a debate because this guy was actually going against me. Can you believe it? But I thought he was very impressive. I thought his wife, Catherine, was even more impressive, to be honest with you. And so impressive that I said, he's a good man. That guy's all right. But he's been fantastic. He's been a tremendous Secretary of the Interior and the best ever. There's never been a Secretary of the Interior like Doug Burgum. Thank you very much. Thank you. Never been. And, you know, Doug called me and he said, would you do me a favor? He's really fantastic because I did not know the gentleman too well. But he said, Kelly Armstrong is fantastic. Would you endorse him for governor? And I did, and he won easily. Kelly Armstrong, great job you're doing. Great job. And two of my very good friends, two warriors.
Hey, what's up, everyone? What's up, Abel Diaz? How's it going? What's up, Freddie? What's up, Kitty? What's up, Jason? What's up, Stuart? Christian? What's up, Lady Weiser? How's it going? Oh yeah, for sure. You know the funny thing about these pools is that I just throw them up there, and then like all the MAGA cult members get all butthurt when the pool's pretty much 10 times out of 10, the pools that I do never go in their favor. But those pools, they're not like they're just like organic, you know. Anyone can vote on them. So it just shows like a lot of these pools, you know, that I do whenever I do a live stream, like it's always like 70-30. And you know, I'll do the poll on like, do you agree with like Trump's like immigration tactics, or is Trump violating people's civil rights, or is Trump the most corrupt person ever? And they're always like 70-30, and it's organic. Anyone can vote. So that just shows that like, that's how the midterms are going to go. It's going to be a blue wave tsunami. But any of these like MAGA, like right wing chud channels, like they'll get ratioed out. Like over here, we got free speech. Anyone can say whatever the hell they want. It's all good, you know. But those MAGA right wing channels, they gotta be all careful and like censor everybody, you know. Like they never let anybody with it, you know, that doesn't agree with Trump like comment on their shit. So that's why I started like doing my own live streams. I was like, screw all those fools. I'll do my own shit. And then but anyways, yeah, if one of those MAGA right wing channels like try to do a poll like this, they'd get ratioed the F out.
They're tough cookies. They're tough. Oh, I wish they could get their way. We could get a couple of little things passed, like voter identification, like proof of citizenship. It's called Save America. You know, that's pretty good. Save America. Can you imagine? We have 100% of the Democrats against it, and 4 or 5 Republicans, if you can believe that. What are they all about? But these two people are with us.
Oh yeah, thanks, Lady Weiser, for the shout out right there. Yeah, please double tap the phones, just like Pete Hegseth double taps the innocent school children and the innocent fishermen.
By John Hoeven and Kevin Cramer, senators. They're great. 2 great guys. And a congresswoman who fights and gets what she wants, and she's very respected. Julie Fedorchak. Thank you, Julie. Very, very respected. And we have our ambassador, Monica. Where's Monica? Monica Crowley. Fantastic. Acting Secretary of the Navy, Hung Cao. And we're building a lot of ships. North Dakota House Speaker, Robin Wise. Thank you. Thank you. Doing a great job. State House Majority Leader, Mike LaFleur.
And keep in mind, folks, everything that comes out of this guy's mouth is nothing but lies. Like, his diaper is so full of crap that it's coming out of his mouth. So we're just watching this to fact check him. And I mean, you know, all we can do is just wait till the midterms, you know, make our vote heard, vote all these MAGA meat riders out. But in the meantime, you know, might as well, you know, if we got a clown, we might as well enjoy the circus.
State Senate Majority Leader David Hogue. Thank you, David. And all of the members of the North Dakota legislature, every single one. I'm not going to introduce you. You have no chance of that. I'll be here all day, but you're all here. We love you, and you've been with us from day one. Thank you very much. Thank you. And the CEO.
Trump said that Jeffrey Epstein was a great guy. They were best friends for many years. Well, the MAGAs like to do this talking point like Trump turned into Epstein. But little do they know is that during, you know, with the Epstein files that they have released, it's been proven that Trump asked Epstein to be offered him a position in his first administration on his cabinet.
A fantastic job. He took me around. I thought it would be maybe.
Release the Trumpstein files.
It's 5 minutes. I've been doing this for 2 hours. Thank goodness I love the subject, or I would not have put up with it. Doug said you could come in. You know, I'm prosecuting a war, which we're winning very easily, by the way. But I said, Doug, let's fly in. We'll do 10, 15 minutes. I know I'm going to love it. And then I'll get out. Oh, absolutely, sir. So then time comes, he got me making speeches. I was over there 2 hours. I know more about that museum than the people that built it. But that's okay, because they did a very good job. I can report that they did a really good job. The CEO of the Theodore Roosevelt Presidential Library, who really did give me a tremendous amount of knowledge, I mean, about things that I never would have thought could have been possible, about how great this man was. Ed O'Keefe. Ed, thank you very much. And two of my sons are here, Eric and Don.
Oh God. We got Beavis and Butthead in the house.
And Bettina, thank you very much. Don just got married. Bettina, thank you. It's going to be great. Thank you very much. But the members of the Roosevelt family and countless foundation staff, donors, supporters, everyone's here. And I understand that one local construction worker delayed his retirement by 4 years just to be involved with the building, and they heard I was going to come. I was coming even when I wasn't president. I had agreed to come, and they said, well, when we do it, you're going to be president. So that was during that ridiculous time, that ridiculous 4-year period of time. They asked me to come. I said, I'd love to come. And I said, I may or I may not be president of this. We don't care. We want you to be there. And I always remember that. But they said, you're going to win. You know that. If you run, you're going to win. It turned out we did quite easily, actually. And today I can tell you that we can see why it was worth it. It's really amazing. They've done an amazing job, beautiful job. And, you know, they've done it from love. Jobs that are done from love are always better than jobs where you sort of have to follow a plan. They made lots of changes, and every one of them was good. And I think I know about every one of them. After 2.5 hours, I learned every single one of them. But I want to really thank everyone who greeted me at the train station, because that was so famous. That was such a famous train. The last one was President Dwight Eisenhower, and he was actually a very good president. People don't realize he was a general, good general. And he built the interstate highway system. I'd say that alone is pretty good. See, he was a good, and now he was the last one. He was on the back of the exact same train. So the head of the railroad, he was fabulous, and they were explaining all about the train, and they said, wow, there's really some history in the crowd. We had thousands of people over there. It was fantastic. But I have the picture of President Eisenhower in the back of the train, the same exact train. I checked it out because I said, you know, we don't want to make any mistakes because the fake news is watching, and they'll say it wasn't the same train. It wasn't the same train. No, they've been pretty nice to me lately. Look, when you do as well as we're doing, they have to be nice, I guess. They've been pretty nice. And I want to give a very special thanks to the Patriots who gave us such an incredible escort from town. We had more law enforcement. You know, I love law enforcement. Now, according to...
Yeah, the only escort you got, buddy, was Malaria Trump.
According to the people that are running on the other side, in many places, they want to defund the police. That's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. And we see them all the time. They said they're social democrats. Doesn't it sound pretty? They're actually communists, but we'll get into that a little bit later. They're not going to win.
Oh, no, buddy, you're the communist. You're the one that rolled out the red carpet for Putin. You actually have a photo of Putin on the wall with your family members. You also released the sanctions on Putin. So you're the commie, and all your cult members are commies, or commie lovers.
Anything. They got some very unattractive candidates, I have to say. During my first term, it was a privilege to sign the bill that helped get this incredible project underway, and transferring 90 acres. We took it right out of the federal government. We ripped it away from the federal government. They don't know it's missing. They still haven't figured out what the hell happened. And today, the artistry and scholarship, technical skill on display right here and in that museum in particular is just fantastic. It's really great. Things that they actually gave me. You know, we're going to build our museum in Miami. They got me a lot of ideas, Doug. You gave me a lot of ideas, Doug. But they really did it well. Incredible. I even had a conversation with Theodore Roosevelt. I said, what did you think about the Panama Canal? Do you consider that your greatest achievement? How do you feel about the fact that the Democrats gave the Panama Canal away to Panama for $1? You know, he built the Panama Canal, preceded really by a man who was actually, he was the tariff king, William McKinley. He was the president, and they took his name off Mount McKinley, and I put it back on because it was put it back on. But McKinley actually, he was assassinated, but he made tremendous amounts of money, made our country very
Which one's the pig?
Teddy Roosevelt is the vice
I've been looking at this for like a year now. I can't figure it out.
Incredible things, but one of them, I think, one of the most amazing. Maybe a lot of people would say the parks. You could say a lot of different elements of his success. Incredible, but he built the Panama Canal. It was the most expensive project to this day, if you bring the dollars forward, ever built in history. 38,000 people died. They died 95% from mosquitoes, malaria, 95%. You expected almost to die. They paid workers from the United States. Mostly they came in, and mostly, I must say, men. It was a little different time. Today would have men and women, but they had all men. And they paid them massive amounts of money, more than they were making as workers in the United States. Such a fascinating thing, the Panama Canal. I've studied it long and hard, and when they gave it away, $1. But they died from the mosquito and they died from the snake. They have a viper, a snake, that if you get bit, you're in trouble. If you get bit, you were dead. You were dead, and that wiped out about 5%. We lost 38,000 people building the Panama Canal. Our people. 38,000 people died building the Panama Canal. It opened, and from day one, it was very successful. And we gave it away. We gave it away. It was the most expensive thing we ever built, and it was also the most profitable thing we ever built. That's a nice combination. A little bit like Venezuela. We did a good job in Venezuela. But and we're actually doing equally as well with the Islamic Republic of Iran. Maybe you've heard of it, but think of it, the Panama Canal. So we gave it away. The first thing they did, you know what they did? They raised the prices for the ships by 4 times, and they didn't lose one ship. And then they raised it again twice, and they didn't lose one ship. All they did is make tremendous amounts of money for years and years.
Hey, what's up, Joey? Now you're a disgrace for being a MAGA Bollock and cult member.
Stupid was that.
You're participating in some un-American activities, pal. Once we take back the House and the Senate, all these MAGA cult members are going to have to do 40 hours of community service. Jamie Raskin has a database on all the MAGA cult members, and the ones that don't comply are going to get shipped back to Jonestown.
And now China is trying to take over the Panama Canal, and we're not going to let that happen, okay? And that was not part of the script, because I don't really have a script, because this thing doesn't work. It's appropriate. The one on my right is slightly better than the one on my left. The one on my left is a waste of time. It's a little like politics. The one on my right is a little better. It's not great. I give it about a 2 on the scale of 10. And this afternoon, I'm pleased to announce that through the National Endowment for the Humanities, we will be awarding the...
Look, check it out, guys. I just found a picture of a MAGA cult member getting ready to defend the orange pedo protector online. Well, there's a MAGA cult member right there getting ready to defend the orange man.
$750,000 to support the opening exhibits during the first year, so they're getting a nice check. And as you know, this week, Americans all across our nation are filled with joy and excitement and anticipation as we prepare for one of the proudest moments in our history. 250 years, think about that. 3 days from now, we will celebrate the 250th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence. What a document that was. And this week, we look back on 250 years of glorious freedom, and we took so much time and so much effort. And by the way, on July 4th, it's going to be approximately 107 degrees out. And I'm going to go and I'm going to make a really long speech.
Look, here's your typical MAGA cult member, what they look like. The reason their forehead and their head's so big is because they're trying to process all these lies and mental gymnastics and gaslighting and Stockholm syndrome and brainwashing. So it's your typical MAGA mush brain cult member.
That I can do anything. It's going to be 107. But you know what? They also predicted the fight that we had 3 weeks ago was unbelievable at the White House. They said a week before, 6 days, 5 days, 4 days, 3 days, 2 days, 1 day. They said it was going to rain. It's going to be horrible. You're going to have to cancel the fight. Sure, we're going to have to cancel. This was a big event. This was one of the highest rated fights in history. It was on CBS National on a Sunday night, not a Saturday night. Saturday nights are called Death Valley for television. I know a lot about ratings. But Sunday night's very good, and it was broadcast on CBS, a network, and it got among the highest ratings any fight has ever gotten. But they said it was going to rain. And I talked to Dana White. I said, Dana, I don't know, this is bad. Sir, it's 100% chance of rain. I said, you sure? Like maybe 90? No, 100%, sir. So it was 7 o'clock and it wasn't raining. Then it started at 8 o'clock and we were going to delay it till 12 o'clock midnight. I said, that's not good. But it wasn't raining at 8 o'clock and it wasn't raining at 8:30. And we had the fight on time and it never rained. Never rained. So you never know about weather forecasting, do you? With all the money we spend all that money. It's happened before. We had a big march in Washington. You remember that? That was going to be rained out, sir. We're going to have to change it. Rained out, never rained. So we're getting pretty good at that. But this is a time to rediscover the indomitable spirit that built our country and all that will ensure America always remains the most exceptional nation on the face of the earth. We're not going to let communists get in our way. We're not going to let anyone get in our way. Not the communists.
Here's how MAGA cult members like to eat their Snickers. They eat them upside down because they like to feel that veiny texture on their tongue, and they like to think about Trump while they're enjoying a Snickers upside down.
An attractive lot. They're not going to do it. They're not doing anything. Those people, what they're doing, they're so stupid. They're so stupid. There could be no better place to begin this rediscovery than with the life, times, and passions of Theodore Roosevelt. He had great passion. The Colonel, they called him, was an American man. He was really a great he-man. He was an American man through and through. His chest swelled with American optimism, confidence, enthusiasm, pride. His heart beat with an unyielding sense of America's destiny and pride, and that pride was bigger. The biggest word for him, I think, was pride. He was a proud man. But I'm a proud man. I'm proud of our country. I'm proud that 2 years ago we had a country that was a laughing stock all over the world, and now we have the hottest country anywhere in the world, the most respected country anywhere in the world. But as a young boy, I saw that he loved Lincoln, and Lincoln's casket would pass through the nation torn apart by civil war. I don't know if you know that. I think Teddy Roosevelt, I think, is probably his biggest. I was trying to get that today, and I think it came pretty loud and clear. Abraham Lincoln was the person that he most respected, most admired, most looked up to. He has a beautiful picture of Lincoln that he had in his one of his rooms, one of his very important rooms where he lived, and it's at the library. By the end of the 60 years, TR had transformed his country by the reach of his vision. He had a great vision, and by the force of his will, into one of the greatest places, one of the greatest empires, one of the most incredible countries, ready to take its rightful place as the strongest and most respected nation anywhere in the world. They didn't have people that they had no idea where they were. They didn't have people that couldn't walk up the steps, see those steps? They didn't have people that had no idea where the hell they were. They didn't have people that said, let's have open borders so millions and millions of people can pour into our country from prisons all over the world. They didn't have those people. They had strong, smart people like Teddy Roosevelt. Today, America is stronger and more respected. Right now, I'll tell you, the King of Saudi Arabia, I was with him a year ago, smart guy, good guy. He said to me, sir, it's amazing. And this was as we were just started to really, and we've made a lot of progress since, and you see the numbers, factories being built all over the country at a level that we've never had before. But he said, 1 year ago, during the Biden, Sleepy Joe, during the Biden administration, he said 1 year ago, your country was dead. We gave up on your country. They were looking at China. They were looking at others to protect them. They were looking at other countries. And now you have the hottest country anywhere in the world. He said that, and it's true. Now it's even more so than it was then. Hottest country anywhere in the world. So Theodore Roosevelt and his presidency fell exactly at the halfway mark between the founding in 1776 and the place we are today in 2026. And here are 5 lessons, and I wanted to write these because you can learn from some people, not from too many. From a lot of them, you don't want to learn much. But you can learn from him, and here are 5 lessons that are really extraordinary. Life offers to all Americans on the threshold of our 250th year. First of all, the life of Theodore Roosevelt reminds us that Americans never give up. We don't give up. If you really look back 2 years ago, I can see people wanting to give up. I can see them wanting to give up. He never stopped, never quit, never surrendered in pursuit of his dreams. He had a dream, a very complex dream he did because of the way he traveled, the way he moved, the fact that he ended up here. It turned out to be one of the most impactful things he ever did, ending up right here where we are. But his pursuit of the American dream never, ever stopped. It was really amazing. He was plagued by asthma, very, very bad, very serious. He was having a hard time breathing for much of his life. But he went out and he was told by his doctor that he'd have to live very quietly. This is as a young man, he was told he'd have to be and have a very quiet life. You have to be nice and easy. And he did just the opposite. He had a freaking wild life, right? He was wild. He just didn't want to take that. He didn't want to listen to his doctor. He didn't want to be quiet. He wanted to be great. He actually wanted to be great. And that's what he turned out to be. Young Theodore replied, Doctor, I'm going to do all the things that you tell me not to do. And I've got to live the sort of life that you've described. I don't care how short it is. I just want to live my life the way I want to live my life. It was great. I mean, who would say that? The next year, he sailed the Atlantic and he summited the Matterhorn just to prove that he could do these things, just to prove his doctor wrong. He knew his doctor. He wanted to prove him wrong. Maybe it wasn't smart, but it worked out okay. But again and again, he summoned the will to transcend tragedy and triumph and defeat heartbreak with hard work. He worked hard, and I found that out. I mean, if you love what you do, it's not work. That's one thing I will tell you. People say I work hard, but it's not work, because if you love it, I love making America great again, and then I'm having a good time. So it's not work. We call it work, but it's not. In his library, we find his diary open to the page from 1884, when his mother and his wife died on the very same day in the very same house. Totally unrelated. Just a tragic moment, but unrelated. There wasn't an accident where both of them were killed. They just died. Then he came back home and he said, what happened? They're both dead. Different parts of the house, had nothing to do. It's just an amazing. Wife was very young. Mother was older, but she was getting by. The light has gone out from my life, he wrote. But Theodore Roosevelt did not surrender to fate. He came here to Medora and made himself fate's master. I said, I want to be fate's master. He wanted to turn the tables, and he really showed that that's what Americans can do. That's what people can do beyond Americans. That's what people can do if they really believe and they set their mind to it, and if they're competent. I mean, you have to be competent. You have to be smart. It's nice to say anybody can do it. Not anybody can do it. They'd like to say, anybody can do it. No. But he was a special person. He arrived at this town, narrow-chested, 140 pounds. He looked pretty bad to the people here, because they're pretty tough people around here. Never changed. He was sick. He was shattered from the death of these two people that he loved the most. And his body and his spirit were pretty much broken. Not broken enough, but pretty much broken. If they were broken all the way, he wouldn't have been able to do what he did. He left here 2 years later. He weighed 40 pounds more, and he was strong as an ox. They say it was 40 pounds of muscle. I don't know how the hell that happened. They didn't have modern-day drugs. Of course, the modern-day drugs don't do that either, do they? In fact, they actually take away the muscle. That's not good. How are we doing, doctor? Well, you lost a lot of muscle. That's not good. But we didn't have any of that. He was 40 pounds of steel, the vital man of vigor, who would become president of the United States not that long after he left. Wow, that's amazing. I know what it takes to do that. It's tough. As a sheriff's deputy, he heard 3 thieves had stolen the only boat in town, so he built another, and over 3 days chased the criminals 300 miles. He wanted all those poor criminals. We need a little bit more of that in our country, but we do pretty good. We have the best border we've ever had. We do pretty good. Think of it, we have the best border, strongest border. We went from the worst border in history in 3 months to the best border in history, so we do okay. But he was a man who could get crushed beneath a horse. He was crushed. Get up, and he kept riding. People said, you got to get back. We got to get you. No, I'm going to keep riding. He could take a bullet to the chest, stand up, and keep speaking. He had a little luck. He had a lot of paper there. I saw it today, a bullet hole right through both of them. But so got lucky, but other people wouldn't have done what he did. He could feel sick, and he was often feeling sick. Deep in the Amazon jungles, he would get extremely sick. Maybe he shouldn't have been there. He knew what was happening. It was a very dangerous place from that standpoint, from the standpoint of catching some pretty bad diseases, and he caught them. And yet he carried on. When he was half dead, and most people think he was going to die, they thought he was going to die. They said, Teddy Roosevelt is going to die, but he carried on, and he was still standing. He never sat. He never rested. He just kept going. As America turns 250 years old, we look at this remarkable man, and we recall that with effort, determination, and drive, there is nothing that Americans of competence cannot do. Nothing. Our ancestors were the people who raised up New York City from the marshes of Manhattan and then ventured into the Dakotas to carve up a life in the place that they called hell with the fires burned out. I don't know what the hell that's supposed to mean. Hell with the fires burned out. That doesn't sound so nice. But you did, and you become a tremendously wealthy state, a very successful state with low taxes. I mean, you have great government. You have great government. These people right over here and the people I introduced, but other places have good land. They have valuable assets under the land, and they're losing. You know, California was our third biggest oil drilling state, Doug, not so long ago. It's got tremendous amounts of oil. Nobody knows that. It was third after Texas. Years ago, it was a big oil drilling. Now they won't drill because the environmental lunatics have said don't do it, and it's not a state that's doing very well. In fact, it's doing extremely poorly. One of the most beautiful states in the world, best weather, best everything.
Hey, what's up, Jason? What's up, Eric Klein? What's up? What's up, Immortal? What's up, Burning Down the House? What's up, Ann? What's up, Lucky? Kitty? What's up, everyone? What's up, Long Bong?
From winning our independence to laying the railroads, taming the West, and planting our flag on the moon, nothing great that America has ever done has come without staggering effort, and it's never come easy. It's been really an unflagging persistence that drove us into greatness. We had the persistence of great people, great men, great women. They were persistent. They never gave up. This country was built on the conviction that just because something is hard to do, that only means that Americans try even harder, and they succeed almost all the time. Because whatever the obstacle, whatever...
Yeah, these MAGA cult members need to be more focused on how much of a piece of shit Donald Trump is than some Democrat party.
Challenge, it's no match for American grit, and you have it probably as much or more than any other place there is. Maybe you have American grit. And second, Theodore Roosevelt.
Hey, what's up, News Troll?
That to be a great nation and to be a free nation, we must have courage. Without courage, you have nothing. As TR once put it, freedom is not a gift that lasts long in the hands of cowards. How about that? Doesn't last long in the hands of cowards. What a great statement.
Hey, what's up, Cheeseburger? Good to see you.
I want to use that. I shouldn't have said it. I would have used that statement, and I wouldn't have attributed it to TR. And they would have said, oh, what a great statement that is. Trump made a brilliant speech. What do you think, John? Would I get away with that? Kevin? I don't know. Maybe not. But that's a great statement. That's a beautiful thing to say. But in the West, he tracked a 1,200-pound grizzly. My two boys know all about that. I say, are grizzlies dangerous? Is a grizzly bear dangerous? I looked at Eric and Don. They know more about that stuff than any human being, I tell you. They said, they're real dangerous, Dad. I said, are they violent bears? They said, they're really violent, right, fellas? You said they are violent, but that doesn't scare them. Just be scared.
Man, I think we've been listening to this guy for 38 minutes so far, and everything he's saying is just nothing but mumbo jumbo, just nothing that benefits the American people whatsoever. This guy is ridiculous.
Get the hell out of there. But we want to keep you around. But when it roared, a big one, and it wanted to strike him, and it was going rapidly there, very fast. I just learned that on a beautiful airplane coming over here. He shot it squarely between the eyes, and it fell. touching him but not able to destroy him. When he heard a man here threaten to kill him right here, one of your tough people, is he around by any chance? Would you please stand up? He rode to his house. He rode to the man's house, knocked on his door. The man threatened to kill him. He said, I'm going to kill Roosevelt. And he declared that I've come over to see what you want to begin with, and how do you want to begin the killing? He said, how do you want to begin? I'm right here in front of you. How do you want to begin the killing? That's a little different kind of a guy. By a coincidence of history, it was exactly 128 years ago today that Colonel...
Hey, what's up, Jason? Oh yeah, it's that fair. Just another grift, stealing money from the American taxpayers. This guy's just terrorizing and looting this country and the whole world.
Gave our nation one of the greatest examples of American courage the age-old chronicles of military valor have ever seen. After commandeering a ship to Cuba for the volunteer regiment, he personally raised and trained his incredible Rough Riders. The Rough Riders, I saw the Rough Riders. What the hell are the Rough Riders? Look at these guys. I wish I looked like that. If I looked like them, I would have been president 20 years ago. You guys are great. Thank you. They could really ride those horses. They let us in. They were going faster than the car. I said to my guys, is there any danger in the way they're riding? Yeah, there's danger, sir, but they're great riders. You guys are fantastic. Thank you. But he led the Rough Riders in their heroic charge up San Juan Heights. And with malaria coursing all throughout his veins, he was really sick. Colonel Roosevelt galloped into a hail of Spanish bullets, and when his horse came to a wire fence, he leapt off the horse. He jumped off the horse and he started running toward the enemy. I don't know if that was smart, but he made it. Then he looked over at the next hill and he grabbed his men. He said, fellas, let's do it again. And he did it again and again. The Rough Riders' victory at San Juan Heights led directly to the collapse of the Spanish line. Ah, the Spanish. They're members of NATO, but not very good members of NATO. They say, no, we don't want to help other people. What are we doing, huh? They are not behaving nicely, but they will learn. Soon after they relinquished their grip on Cuba and Guam, the Philippines and Puerto Rico, and they were all ours. We got them all. And speaking of Cuba, after many, many decades, it's coming our way. Coming our way. But for his actions that day, TR was celebrated as a hero and eventually awarded the Congressional Medal of Honor. That's a big deal. And I'm thrilled to announce that just moments ago, 128 years after the Battle of San Juan Heights, it was my really great privilege to deliver his library and a very special gift. In fact, I gave it to Doug and the president, man who did such a good job in helping to build it. Doug raised a lot of money, got a president to be out here all day instead of 15 minutes. And I gave that medal. I took it off. We have a beautiful room, the Roosevelt room, this Roosevelt, by the way. And I took it off the wall, brought it over, and we just presented it. And it's going to be in your library now for a long, long time. And it'll be displayed alongside the Medal of Honor earned by his brave son. His son was brave. It's genetics, it's like the racehorse theory, right? Fast horses. Theodore Roosevelt Jr. on D-Day, he also received that incredible acknowledgement, except for Arthur and Douglas MacArthur. Arthur was his son, Douglas MacArthur, great general. They're the only father and son pair to receive our nation's highest military award for courage above
Yeah, and your son are a disgrace to this country, Mr. Bone Spurs, Captain Draft Dodger.
Beyond the Call of Duty. Now, as I see my two beautiful sons sitting there, I think I'm going to give one to myself, one to them, and we'll have a threesome, okay? I'll pick out one of the two. I'll give them the Congressional Medal of Honor for something, for their genius at hunting, and I'll get one for taking on Russia or something. And we'll have a third there. Now I'm only kidding. But I have seriously thought about, now this is dangerous to say because the fake news is up there all over the place. And when I joke, I learned early on, don't be sarcastic in politics. But I actually said a few times that I've seriously thought of giving myself the Congressional Medal of Honor. Now, everyone knows I'm doing it with a chuckle, but then they report, he wants to give himself the Congressional. So I don't say that anymore. It's very dangerous to say. But it is the highest award, and they had a father-son get it, and that's a tremendous tribute to a genetic pool. As we enter the 250th year, Americans must never forget we are a historic and heroic people with a heroic spirit and a heroic purpose. And in this world, we are a very special group. American courage won our independence. It liberated millions and millions from slavery, rescued billions from tyranny, and sustained American liberty for 2.5 centuries. And we're not going to lose it to this group of losers. Oh, can you imagine? Have you seen these people? Have you seen these people?
Hey, what's up? What's up, Allah Kitty?
Process is building them up. They're losers, okay? They're nasty people, but they're losers.
What's up, Scalamucci? What's up, Dan Fries? Yeah, we're just watching Trump's mumbo jumbo. And then after this, we're going to watch J.D. Vance's speech. And then once we hear those two morons, we'll move on to some real politicians.
We're going to teach them. They're not going to hurt our country.
Got to watch the bad news first and then the good news.
Without courage, there is no America today. If you didn't have courage, we wouldn't have America today. We wouldn't be close. Third, Theodore Roosevelt believed in the America that really works and worked. He refused to accept failure, mediocrity, corruption, decay, or decline. And neither should we. That's why we can't take this nonsense that's going on right now. We're not going to take it. The first public cause he ever supported was a bill to fix the streets in New York City. He was very New York City and New York centric. You know that. That's where he came from. He was a pretty rich family. As the civil service commissioner, he fought tooth and nail to return federal hiring to a principle called merit. Merit, isn't that nice to hear? And by the way, do you know, a little while ago, not in yesterday's decisions, where we actually had a good day except for birthright citizenship, which will work out some way, but we had something called, do you know what we're talking about? We had something that gives back tremendous power to the President of the United States. And we won that, I think, 6-3. And it was taken away from another Roosevelt. It was taken away from FDR in 1932. It was taken away. And for almost 100 years, that's been up for grabs. Slaughter, it was called, the Slaughter case. And a lot of people didn't think it would ever be won. And we won it 2 days ago, the Supreme Court. It gives power back to the president at a time where the president really needs power. It's a great decision. It was the most important, and we want some others too. It was the most important decision of all of them, I think. But we'll take care of the birthright citizenship because that was not meant for rich people from other countries. That was meant for, actually, it was meant for the babies of slaves, if you look at it, it was a month after the Civil War ended that it went through. That's because it was meant for the babies of slaves. It wasn't meant for rich people from China. They came over in Gulf Streams. It was meant for the babies of slaves. So I believe, no, I know they got it wrong, but that's okay because they gave us something that nobody thought. But they also gave us something in one of the sessions.
This guy's such a moron right here. Does he not realize that Chinese people built all the railroads?
A year ago, it was called merit. Our country now is based again on merit. So, if you're a student with very average marks and you looked a certain way or you acted a certain way or whatever, and you get into the finest school in the world, and then you're somebody else that looked a certain way or acted a certain way, and you have all A pluses, and you have all great marks and board numbers that are through the roof, way above other people, but you don't get in, they get in. It's all over with. It's based now on merit. I don't even know if people know. The fake news didn't want to cover it. To me, that's one of the greatest decisions. And that took courage of the Supreme Court because our country became great because of merit. We became great because of merit. And when you look at those soldiers that we have standing there at Washington, D.C., where we ended up, so we had one of the most unsafe cities, places, our capital, anywhere in the country. And now we have one of the absolute safest.
Man, this guy makes me want to throw up.
Walk anywhere in Washington, and we fixed up the monuments, and Doug was fantastic. We had 78 monuments, fountains, statues. We have the reflecting pond, which we did the best job of all. They came in with box cutters and they cut it up, but it's working fine. We're going to let a little water out. We're going to redo it a little bit. But we fixed it up after 100, think of it, it was 1922 that it came about. And from the day it was built, it leaked. From the day it was built, it didn't work. But when it did, when they had water, it was beautiful. It reflected Washington Monument. It reflected Lincoln and Washington. Think of it. How beautiful. How beautiful. And these people went in and cut it up. And they got caught. We'll see what happens with them, but they got caught. But they put a big gash, 350 feet long. Think of that. 350-foot gash along the side of this very expensive material. But it will have it all. It's already good. We want to have it done for July 4th, and it was done for July 4th. And it's operating right now, but we'll let a little water out. We'll fix it up very quickly, Doug, and it'll be just as good. But we have, for the first time ever, what they don't say, we spent a very small amount of money too. What they don't say is Barack Hussein Obama. Have you heard of him? Barack Hussein Obama spent tens of millions of dollars trying to fix it, and it was a disaster. Sleepy Joe Biden spent millions of dollars trying to fix it, and he was unable to do it. But we did it, and it works beautifully. It's a beautiful. We got.
Oh yeah, Trump recently was quoted as saying that he loves inflation. But yeah, under Biden, we were all eating a steak and lobster, $3 a gallon gas. Everything's doubled in price under Trump.
I'll see which.
Now under Trump, we got RFK Jr. approved liver, got some screwworm, some deep fried screwworm.
Did they put in algae? Who the hell put in algae? They had a couple of people with signs, protect the algae.
Yeah, what these MAGA cult members don't realize is that Joe Biden actually fixed all of Donald Trump 1.0, all the mess his first administration made. So Biden came in and cleaned it all up. And it was going real swell until Elon Musk came along and messed with the elections.
Can you believe this? This world has gone crazy. But today I'm proud to say that after 4 years of decline, America is once again a nation that has strong borders, is respected by everyone, all countries all over the world. They respect your president and they respect you. When they respect your president, they respect you. And we solve problems and we take things on just like Theodore Roosevelt took things on. He took them on directly, right at them. He stared in their face. But our laws will be enforced. Our laws will be protected. And our law enforcement is respected again. You know, one of the things that I'm most proud of, when I was running in the campaign and even before I announced, you could not get people to join the military. We had the worst years we've ever had under Sleepy Joe Biden. He had no idea what the hell he was doing. And people were ashamed of our country. And you couldn't get them to join. And then we had a beautiful day, November 5th, and we won by a lot. We won by just a lot. It was incredible. We beat a woman named Kamala. We beat a brilliant young woman named Kamala who had no clue. She was the border czar. She never went to the border. She never called the border patrol. I said, fellas, you ever get a call from Kamala? She's the border czar. No, sir, she never called. I used to call them every other day. How we doing on the border? 2 months, and we had a border that...
Sounds kind of like you going to an unlawful war against Iran while being a draft dodger.
2 months. But Kamala never called, and she never went. So for 4 years, she was the border czar. She never went to the border. It doesn't typically play out very well. And we had the worst border in the world. But these are the people that were running our government, that we were a laughing stock all over the world. Not anymore. They don't laugh at us anymore. A government that was honest and accountable was the number one demand of the Declaration of Independence. They want honesty. They want respect. And on this anniversary, we recommit ourselves to upholding that righteous legacy. And that's why I'm here. I'm in a state that I won by a landslide, but I won a lot of them by landslides, in all fairness. But this was a beauty. This was a beauty. And I refuse to tell you. My son said, Dad, don't say that. So I won't. I refuse to tell you who got more votes, me or the legendary, and he was great, Theodore Roosevelt. I refuse to say. Because you'll say he's a braggart. He's a terrible human being. He's a horrible person. So I refuse to say. I told my son I will not say. Thank you. Thank you for giving me some good advice, Eric Trump and Don Trump. TR was also a staunch and ferocious opponent of a thing called communism. You've been hearing a lot about that lately. He said the doctrines of communistic socialism, if consistently followed, mean the ultimate annihilation of civilization. Other than that, he thought it was wonderful. As we're seeing now, communism is the greatest threat to our country, including, I believe this, you know, when I said it, I said, boy, that's pretty severe, but I think it's true. It's the biggest threat to our country, including World War I, World War II, Pearl Harbor, September 11th. I think it's a bigger threat, potentially a bigger threat than that, because it's like a cancer that spreads, and you better stop it fast.
These guys are so desperate, they're trying to bring back like the Red Scare tactics from the 50s. It's over, MAGA cult. It's over, Donnie Dookie. MAGA movement's done, guys. Blue wave tsunami coming through.
Never let the United States become a communist country. Won't happen. And thank you. Fourth, Theodore Roosevelt believed in an America that thinks big. He thought big. He was a big thinker. He was a tremendously big thinker. On the 4th of July in 1886, he spoke in Dickinson, North Dakota. Anybody from Dickinson? And said, like all Americans, I like big things, big prairies, big forests, and mountains. I want them big. He wants big wheat fields, He wants tremendous railroads that let them be big and beautiful and powerful, and herds of cattle. He wants everything big. He wants big factories, steamboats. He wants everything big. It was cool. I mean, I thought it was great because I feel that way. I've always felt that way. Theodore Roosevelt wanted a big future, and he had a big dream.
Hey, what's up, Ann? No, I consider them more as of trumplet turds suffering from MAGA mushbrain syndrome.
For America. And thanks to him, we built the Panama Canal, that beautiful Panama Canal. That is not managed the way it should be, but we won't talk about that now. But he did all of these incredible things with parks and everything else. We vanquished every foreign power from the hemisphere, and he raised the American flag on the far side of the world. He had our American flag planted on every part of the world. He would call, or whatever they did in those days, is the flag over there, is the flag. He wanted that flag to fly boldly in other countries and other parts of the world. We built the Great White Fleet. Did you ever hear the Great White Fleet? We used to build ships. We're going to start very soon building them again. We're building them like you see, although we do build the greatest submarines ever in the world. We're 15 years ahead on submarines and other things. We do other things great, but we're going to start with the ships again. We used to build a ship a day. Now they got out of that. A lot of people that didn't know what the hell they were doing in running our country. Theodore Roosevelt understood that the grand and righteous ambition is not a...
Yeah, if Theodore Roosevelt were alive today, he'd think you're a piece of crap.
It is a American virtue. Having ambition is a positive thing, he said, not a negative thing. And it won us our country, and it's been among the greatest forces for good. It's been the greatest thing. Our attitude and the attitude toward our country and making our country great by some people. Not all presidents were like that. I don't want to get involved with talking about the individual presidents, but we had some good. We had few great. We had a couple. But we had some good. But we had some real bad ones, and they set us back very, very substantially. In particular, the last one. A nation like an individual either rises or falls, builds or decays, lives or dies by this. As we look into the future of our 250th year, it's time that we get out there and we expand our aspirations and our ambitions and build the country that will inspire the entire world for generations. So that's what we're doing. Again, we have more money being invested in the United States of America by other countries and people than ever before, by many, many times over. The fake news doesn't like talking about it, but they see what's happening. Look at the stock market. Every day it's hitting a new high. I think it's 82 times now. In a short period of time, 82. And that's a good thing, not a bad thing. And all of you that have 401ks, which are many. Who has a 401k? 401k, yeah. Big percentage of the audience. Everyone that has a 401k is setting records right now in your 401k. Your wife, your husband, your kids, they all think you're a genius. I'm the genius, I'm the one that I'm only kidding. No, I told the story the other day for the first time. A policeman came up to me, a big, strong, good-looking guy, and he said, "Sir, I want to thank you." He was almost sort of crying. I said, "What do you want to talk to me about, officer?" He was standing on line. He was watching as I shook hands with people. Some of these people are extremely strong in shaking hands. They break your hand because they're so emotional. "Sir, thank you very much." You guys, and
Hey, I got some good news, guys. We only got 7 more minutes of this Trump nonsense to go through.
Offensive lineman, "Sir, I'd like to thank you very much." Wow. But he came up to me and he said, "Sir," I was like,
But I got some bad news. We're going to have to listen to J.D. Vance next. But the good news is we're going to get to have a good time calling him out on all his bullshit.
I want to thank you so much. Why? My 401k is up 84%. My wife was disgusted with me for years. It was just going in the wrong direction. But it's up 84% this year. And I just want to thank you, sir, because it's really helped me with my marriage. My wife is respecting me again. She thought I was an idiot. He's a big, strong guy. But the women, you know the women.
All right, so this guy keeps talking about 401k, and I just looked it up. So just 34% of the people in this country have a 401k.
You know that. We know. All the guys in there, you know. This guy's a big, powerful guy, and he was petrified of his wife. But you know what? He said, my wife now respects me again. She thinks I'm a genius. She thinks I'm Warren Buffett. She thinks I'm one of the greatest investors. But they are up, and everybody in this room, there's not one person here that hasn't been going up 50, 60, 70, 80%. Your 401ks, you're making a lot of money. Everybody is. And we have more people working today than any time in the history of our country. We have more people working today than at any time. And we inherited a tremendous inflation problem from Biden. We inherited the worst inflation in history, 48 years they say, but let's say history. It was the worst inflation and prices were high. And those prices are all coming down. And you see fuel.
And I'll take it a step further and bet that like only 10% of MAGA cult members have a 401k.
Way down, it's dropping like a rock, just like I said. Because those boats are coming out of the Hormuz Strait. They're coming out by numbers that nobody ever saw. We're setting records, actually. The oil is dropping. We have some great oilmen here. I don't know if they're happy or sad. I don't give a damn if they're happy or sad. I want the prices to go down, and the oil is dropping like nobody thought possible, but I told you it would. Total control. We have total control of everything. This is just the beginning of the golden age of America. We're in the golden age of America. And America is going to experience something that...
Nah, we'll be going through the golden age once you're impeached, removed, and imprisoned. Once we take back the midterms this November.
Can truly say, I believe, the best is yet to come. It's going to be coming, and it's here, but it's coming at speeds that nobody thought possible. Finally, Theodore Roosevelt understood that whatever our background, we are all Americans. We're Americans first, united under one flag. And we don't wipe our hands on a flag. Did you hear the person? One of our communist people. But they cleaned it up. The press cleaned that statement up. You know that, right? She didn't use the word hands. She used a different word, a disgusting word. They're disgusting pigs. She didn't use the word hand. They said hand. She used another word. You know what word I'm talking about. These people are a disgrace. That's why Theodore Roosevelt boldly fought for what he called the new nationalism. The word nationalism is a very interesting word. Putting the needs of the whole nation and all of these people above partisanship, lobbyists, crooked politicians. That's just one thing with these guys. They are honest as hell. I'd let you know if they were crooked, if John or Kevin were crooked, I'd say, they're crooked pals, but they're honest. Maybe they're too honest, actually. We got to get a little action going here, fellas. But no, these are great politicians. They're great people. That's why you put them back in office in record numbers, the two of them, all the time. But TR knew that...
This guy isn't no president. He's a fake low IQ president. He's nothing but a motivational speaker for racists and bigots and pedo protectors.
True patriotism demanded caring for the worker, the environment, and the health and culture, and integrity for the nation itself. He was something special. He was a really great man. He was a man the likes of which you may never see again, but we'll all get close and we'll all try and duplicate what he's done.
All those people behind him, everyone there is pretty much paid to be there. Like no one wants to be there. When he gave the speech at that that disaster grifting of a fair he did, where he stole all the taxpayer money. Everyone walked out on him, and everyone, and they all walked out at the same time. So that means they were off the clock. So they're just all paid to be there. No one wants to listen to this clown.
Because he was a man of unbelievable genius and unbelievable toughness and principle. So I want to just say that it's an honor to be with you. It's an honor to be asked to represent our nation in the opening of what will be a truly great library, museum, or center. Call it what you want. And he deserves it as much as anybody that's ever been president of the United States, which is such a great honor. And I just want to thank everybody for being here on this extremely hot day. It's a beautiful day, and it's a beautiful state. And I want to thank you all. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Oh my goodness! You got to be kidding me. He's got to end it with the YMCA dance. Oh my goodness! This guy is such a joke. All right, we don't need to hear that. All right, let's move on to JD Just Dance Vance. He did a speech today. Let's go see what that's all about. All right, here we go. This one's about 25 minutes long. All right, so this is JD Vance from today, from earlier today. This is titled Vice President Vance delivers remarks at Naval Air Station Oceana in Virginia Beach, Virginia. So this is JD Just Dance with the Couch Vance. Oh my goodness, you got to be kidding me. His opening song. Creedence Clearwater doesn't even like, dude. Oh my goodness, Creedence Clearwater doesn't even like these people. All right, I'm going to fast forward that. All right, here we go. Here's JD Just Dance Vance.
Thank you. Wow. It's amazing to be here. You know what I'm thinking as I'm coming down the steps is don't fall and bust your ass in front of all of you and in front of all these cameras, because they would never let me live that one down. You know, the previous president, I'm trying to be nonpartisan. You ever see these old cartoons where you've got the angel on the shoulder and the devil on the shoulder? Well, because I'm speaking to all of you, our great patriots and service members, I've got the angel on my shoulder saying, JD, don't be partisan. We're going to make this nonpartisan. And then I've got the devil on my shoulder who wants to talk about every time that Joe Biden fell up or down the stairs. And the media didn't care about that, but if I did it one time, it would be a major story. But let me just say to all of you, first of all, I'm so proud of you. And I'm grateful to be here. And I can't think of any better group of people to spend this week before America's 250th birthday. Give it up, ladies and gentlemen. It's an honor to be here with you. Now, Naval Air Station Oceana is, of course, one of the proudest military installations we have and one of the great parts of American military history. And I know that we've got, obviously, sailors, we've got Marines. I believe we have representatives from every single one of our 6 branches of the armed forces. And I just want to tell you, from the President of the United States and the entire cabinet,
these white working class voters, we told you so. We told you that Trump was going to be a terrible candidate. We told you that you were an idiot if you voted for him.
Talk to the Trump supporters for a minute. I don't know who you are, and I don't know why you like this guy. He's a race-baiting, xenophobic, religious bigot. He doesn't represent my party. He doesn't represent the values that the men and women who wear the uniform.
I'm proud of you guys. You guys have done more in the last 18 months. The President of the United States has asked you to do more than I think any group of service members has ever been asked to do, and yet you've done it. Every single time you've answered the call, every single time we've given you a mission, you have accomplished it with pride and vigor. Ladies and gentlemen, you are what make America great, and you should be celebrating our 250th birthday better than anybody in the United States of America because you've earned it. I want to give a shout out to a couple of people before I get into to the meat of our remarks here. First of all, you guys are all active duty service members, so you're most worried in the cabinet about our great Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth. But all of you will eventually hit a point where you need the help or you rely on the services of our great Secretary of Veteran Affairs, Doug Collins. Doug, give it up for Doug. He's doing a great job at the VA. I also want to give a special note of gratitude to Jen Higgins, one of the great congressmen, congresswomen in the entire United States Congress, somebody who comes to work every single day and fights for you. And I just learned this on the airplane over here. But you know, Jen, the last place that she served as an active duty service member was right here at Naval Air Station Oceana. So Jen, thank you for being a rock star for our veterans. Thank you for being a rock star for our troops. Thank you for fighting for them because, ladies and gentlemen, you fight for us every single day. And finally, as much as every single one of you has served and done an amazing job, I want to give a special shout out, a little bit late, but I want to give a special shout out to the members of Carrier Air Wing 8. Where is Carrier Air Wing 8? Where are you guys at? Got some of you all around. So this wing just finished, came home in May from a historic.
I'm a never Trump guy. I'm a never Trump guy. I'm a never Trump guy. Never liked him. I'm a never Trump guy. I'm a never Trump guy. I'm a never Trump guy. Ever. I'm a never Trump guy. I'm a never Trump guy. I'm a never Trump guy. Ever liked him. I'm a never Trump guy. I'm a never Trump guy. I'm a never Trump guy.
11-month deployment. The wing logged nearly 12,000 launches across the deployment and over 5,500 flight hours in support of Operation Epic Fury alone. All of the great things that we've accomplished.
Nah, it was Operation Trumpstein Fury.
You guys are the reason that we've been able.
The whole reason he started that unlawful war was to, enrich himself and also use it as a distraction from the Trumpstein files.
Accomplish it. So thank you and welcome home. A little bit late, but welcome home. We're proud to have you guys back. So I mentioned that we are not just in a proud naval air station, but we're also centered in one of the proudest geographies of military history in the United States of America. Just as I understand it, a few miles away, General George Washington, the day after we won at Yorktown, commissioned a religious service to give thanks to Almighty God. And at that service, he said something, he asked everybody to show gratitude of heart. Gratitude of heart for our young and fledgling nation. Gratitude of heart that we were able to win a military victory against the longest odds, the most powerful empire in the history of the world. But I think that gratitude of heart is so much a part of what we do and what we fight for in the United States military. When I think about gratitude of heart, I'm of course most grateful for all of you that we have.
He's a Peter Thiel disciple. And I think Peter Thiel ran off to like Argentina who Trump gave $40 billion to.
The best people, the best of us from every walk of life, from every geography in the United States of America, who are willing to put on the uniform of this country and serve to create that protective blanket. When we talk about the Declaration of Independence that protects life and liberty and the pursuit of happiness, it is your protective blanket that guarantees the life of every single one of our citizens. It is your dedication that ensures the liberty of every single one of our citizens. And it would be impossible for our fellow Americans to pursue happiness were it not for the hard work, the dedication, the sacrifice, and yes, sometimes the ultimate sacrifice.
I mean, what it boils down to is we got a scumbag problem. Got to vote all these scumbags out of office, all these MAGA meat-riding politicians, all these orange man loyalists that have no spines.
Provided by the people who wear the uniform. I know because I, of course, was an enlisted Marine for 4 years, that sometimes you get into this mode where you're thinking about the day-to-day of the job, you're thinking about the tasks that you got to accomplish, you're thinking about how do I make sure that the sergeant or the gunnery sergeant or the second lieutenant who's in charge of me doesn't chew my ass today. But remember that when you're going to work every single day, even though it is routine to you, it is not routine to your fellow citizens who know that.
Hey, what's up, William? William says he's Trump's little pecker. Yeah, I see him more of like Smithers. If you guys ever watched The Simpsons, you know, Mr. Burns, like Homer Simpson's like greedy, soulless boss, just like Trump. Mr. Burns, Smithers. Yeah, Smithers to Mr. Burns is what like JD Vance is to Trump. So I call him JD Smithers. JD Eyeliner Smithers. Or JD Maybelline Smithers.
Would not have their life, their liberty, or their ability to pursue happiness were it not for the sacrifices of you. Now, I have had this job for all of 18 months, and the thing that I know, the thing that I see every single day is that part of the reason why we in our political leadership are able to do what we do is because the world over, bad guys and good guys, friends and foes, allies and enemies are afraid of you. They know that if we ask, you guys will go and make the...
Hey, what's up, Christian? Says without a spine, you can't stand straight. That's a good quote right there. Thank you for sharing.
Possible. They know that when we demand that a bad guy does something, if they say no, you are the ones who are going to enforce that demand. And that is an amazing thing, and it's why we have the great nation that we have today. So what I ask for you as we all get ready to celebrate America's 250th birthday is have that gratitude of heart that General Washington talked about almost 250 years ago. Grateful for yourselves, grateful for the men and women to your left and right, and grateful to the nation that makes it possible for every American to pursue their dreams and to pursue the American dream in whatever the way that they ultimately decide. Now here's what I want to talk about next. I want to talk about what we owe to you. You know, when I was in the Marine Corps, I spent 4 years from 03 to 07 in the United States Marine Corps. I'll say this to the other Marines. There are a lot of reasons why I wanted this job, but one of the reasons why I wanted this job is because it's pretty cool to have the Commandant of the Marine Corps have to salute a member of the E4 Mafia. That's pretty cool. Call it an ego thing. But I left the Marine Corps as an E4, as a corporal of Marines, and some of the proudest things that I ever did, I did in the Marine Corps, and some of the best friends that I've ever made were in the Marine Corps, with Marines, with sailors, with all.
This guy wasn't even in the Marine Corps. He was just like an assistant to a journalist.
People that I served with and had the pleasure to get to know. But one of the things I learned in the United States Marine Corps, serving from 03 to 07, is that we sometimes had leaders who would ask you all to go to war, but would not give you a clear mission on the other end. And one of the reasons why I'm proudest of what the President of the United States has done over these last 18 months is because when he has asked you to go to war, he has given you a defined mission. He's asked you to go and accomplish it. And most importantly, he's giving you the tools to kick the hell out of the enemy and to come home safely. That is what you should expect of me, of our great Secretary of War, of the President of the United States. You put on the uniform. You offer to sacrifice, ultimately, for the benefit of this nation. But what you should demand in return is that when we ask you to go and do something, we tell you exactly what we want you to accomplish. That is what this administration has promised, and that is what this administration has delivered on. Because when I think about what happened when I was a young Marine in 03 to 07, is we had a lot of people who were asking our military to do the impossible, but they weren't giving them clearly defined missions and clearly defined.
Hey, what's up, Christian? That's awesome, man. You were in the German Air Force for 9 months? That's pretty cool.
To the members of the Air Wing that just came home in May, what did the President of the United States ask you to do? Something very discreet and very specific. Number one, he asked you to ensure that we destroyed Iran's conventional military. And as we sit here today, their Navy is at the bottom of the ocean and they have no ability to project power like they did even 12 months ago. What else did he ask you to do? He asked you to destroy their nuclear program. And now, and trust me, I know because I look at the intelligence estimates, if you look at what our own intelligence says about their nuclear program, they are further away from developing a nuclear bomb than they have ever been since basically the last 20 or 30 years. And that is because of you and because of your hard work. And finally, what the president asks you to...
Yeah, because Orange Man's incompetence, Kim Jong-un has nuclear weapons.
...is to destroy the defense industrial base of that country so that if they ever decided to rebuild their military or if they ever decided to rebuild that nuclear program, they would be hard-pressed to do it. And you did that exactly as well. But today, as I sit here, there are people in this country who want you to just keep going and attack the President of the United States for using the leverage that you gave him to engage in negotiation. And why do we engage in negotiation? Because of you, it's not out of weakness, but it's out of strength. And again, I go back to that time that I served in the United States military from 03 to 07. We made a lot of mistakes back then. We did a lot of stupid things back then. You performed ably, but your political leadership did not. And what I remember about that time is that, number one, there were people who learned all the wrong lessons from that moment in history. There were people who learned the lesson that we could never use the military again. But that's not the right lesson, because the military isn't who screwed up in 2003 and 2007. It was the political leadership that screwed up. So that was the wrong lesson to learn. There were also people who learned a different lesson, an equally wrong lesson, that the solution to the problems that we had in the early 2000s was to ask you to do more and more and more and more without giving you a clearly defined objective. Ladies and gentlemen, I think that you deserve to have a clearly defined objective. I think you deserve to have a president of the United States who believes in you and gives you the weapons to win. And I believe that you have a presidential leadership today that will never ask you to go to war unless he's telling you why you're going to war. And most importantly, when he sends you to war, he gives you the tools you need to kick the hell out of the enemy and come home safely. That's what you deserve. And I look at the American media these days and I hear people who are attacking the President of the United States for negotiating, even though the President is negotiating from a position of strength because of you. He's negotiating from a position where Iran's nuclear program has been destroyed and their conventional military has been destroyed too. And what I notice about the people who are attacking the administration for negotiating is that they're the very same people who, for example, encouraged us to just go a little bit further and just drop a few more bombs in places like Afghanistan. But again, if you go back to the mistakes that were made, those very same people, they refuse to say, what were we dropping bombs for? Now, the President of the United States maintains a lot of options today in 2026. But if he ever asks you to go and drop bombs, it's going to be for something specific, to accomplish something that matters to the American people. We dropped some bombs a couple of days ago. You know why?
You guys have been blowing up innocent fishermen and blowing up schools with like 300 kids in them.
Iranians were shooting at commercial ships. So we dropped some bombs, we applied some leverage, and we've had free commercial transit for the last 3 days. If the Iranians try to rebuild the nuclear program, the president's got options, again, because of you. If the Iranians try to threaten their neighbors or fund terrorism, we've got options, again, because of you. But what we must never do is drop bombs just for the sake of dropping bombs. And that is what the president will never ask you to do. He'll ask you to go to war, yes. But when he asks you to go to war, he'll tell you exactly what you're going for. And I think that is what you should expect out of your political leadership. You should expect something else too. And this is where I get into the great work of Jen Kiggins and Doug Collins. You know, one of the most formative experiences of my entire life was after I got out of the Marine Corps. And I was a law school student, and I worked on the Veterans Legal Clinic, helping veterans deal with some of their legal challenges. And we actually represented the Vietnam Veterans of America. And a lot of you are maybe too young to appreciate this, but the Vietnam Veterans of America experienced one of the most shameful periods in the history of the United States of America. They came home, many of them, not to fanfare, not to flag waving, not to a grateful nation. They came home to people who spit on them, who attacked them, and criticized them simply because they did the job the political leadership asked them to do. Now, I go back to what General Washington said about gratitude of heart. And when I sat down with these Vietnam veterans, these people who had quite literally been spit on by their fellow citizens for doing the job Washington asked them to do you know what they had? They didn't have resentment. They didn't have hatred. They didn't have anger. They had a simple motto that never again would America do to a generation of veterans what happened to the veterans from Vietnam. It was an amazing thing. And so when they came to us and they wanted legal help, it wasn't for themselves. It was for all of you. And it was for the generation of veterans that I represented, the veterans in Iraq and Afghanistan. And they committed themselves, these old red hatters. Some of them were the saltiest people you've ever met in your entire life. But they committed themselves to help all of you because they wanted to make sure that the United States would never again treat a generation of veterans the way that it treated the Vietnam veteran generation. And that's an amazing thing. That is the spirit of gratitude. And what we've done is we have taken that charge and we have run with it. What Doug Collins has done, as we have seen working with Jen Kiggins and some of our other great rock stars in Congress, is we've seen veteran backlogs at their lowest level in 30 years. When you call the VA, whenever you get out of the military and you call the VA, somebody ought to actually answer the telephone. And that's what we've done because of Doug Collins and Jen Kiggins. If you or your family needs medical care, it should be there. And that's what's happening because of Doug Collins and Jen Kiggins. Ladies and gentlemen, some of you will serve 4 years, and some of you will serve 34 years. But the simple promise that I make to you that Doug Collins and Jen Kiggins fight every single day is that whenever you call on the Department of Veterans Affairs, somebody should answer the phone and give you the services that you need. So I want to say thank you to Doug. I want to say thank you to Jen Kiggins. We are fighting for our veterans every single day, and the thing that I'd ask all of you, because one day you're going to be veterans. You won't be active duty service members. You will be veterans. Are we going to continue to fight for our veterans just as the Vietnam veteran generations has fought for you? Absolutely, we will. That's what we need from every single person in this room, and that's what you should expect, and that's what you have from your political leadership. Now, let me make just a couple of final comments here. You know, one of the things that we've tried to do in our Department of War is to recognize that you guys are able to do amazing things, but only if you're empowered to actually do them. Why have we gotten rid of diversity, equity, and inclusion? Because we recognize that Americans from every walk of life, from every ethnicity, from every race and religion, that you all can exceed, that you all can succeed if you're empowered by your leadership. Why have we given you the best equipment anywhere in the world? Because when you go to war, you shouldn't be looking down the barrel of a gun of somebody who's got something better than you have. You ought to have the very best stuff. But I think the thing that I'm proudest of is that we have empowered you to do great things again. We're not telling you to look behind you. We're not telling you to think about whether your warfighting abilities or your warfighting capabilities are going to be second guessed by a politician back in Washington. We're sending you overseas if we have to. We're giving you clearly defined.
I mean, these guys are over here. You know, the Trump regime's over there. I think they just arrested a active duty service member that was out there protesting today, and they arrested him for exercising his First Amendment speech. And they're arresting people for touching the reflecting pool. So JD Vance was trying to do this like talking narrative of like Vietnam soldiers coming home and everyone's spitting on them, which I highly doubt. I doubt it. They're just using that to blow things out of proportion. So, you know, because they know they're everything they're doing is illegal. So they're, you know, they even tried it. The seditious six, they called them, like Mark Kelly and Slotkin. You know, they spoke out and they said, you know, don't follow unlawful orders. So they tried to go after them. Trump even said he wanted to like hang them for treason, which is ridiculous. But yeah, when he was saying like the Vietnam vets getting spat on in like the 70s or whatever, I bet it was more of like the general that was following unlawful orders, you know, that probably like was innocent, murdering like innocent people out there in Vietnam. I mean, there was all kinds of massacres over there. I mean, look at Lieutenant Dan from Forrest Gump. That guy was cool.
We're making it possible for you all to.
Hey, didn't Forrest Gump stand in the reflecting pool?
Exactly what you need to do.
So is Trump going to go arrest Tom Hanks?
So from one enlisted Marine to all of you, I just have a couple of final thoughts. Number one, I am grateful to you. You may not realize.
Hey, what's up, Bug 101? Good to see you.
I spend my time with a lot of political hacks back in Washington, D.C. Not Doug and Jen, but there are some political hacks back in Washington, D.C. You are the people who make this job worthwhile, and you are the people who make this job something proud to do. I know it. You may not see it, but I've looked in the eye of a lot of bad guys, and those bad guys respect the United States because they fear you. So number one, thank you. And number two, I want to say as we get ready to celebrate 250 years of great American history, I want you all to know that that celebration belongs to you as much as it belongs to anybody in the United States of America. For 250 years, it is people like you who have put on the uniform of the United States of America and made sure that our Constitution actually has meaning.
Yeah, exactly, Dan Fries. He was just like a assistant to a photographer.
Who have put on the uniform of the United States.
He was pretty much just like a water boy.
America, and made sure that those backyard barbecues and those celebrations we're going to see over the next few days exist under a blanket of liberty and protection. Ladies and gentlemen, you are the very best part of the United States of America. So happy 250th birthday. Let's keep on celebrating. And because of you, my friends, the next 250 years of the United.
Oh yeah, we need Drewski. We need some Drewski up in here.
Of America are gonna be better than the last 250 years. God bless.
Drewski 2028.
Independence Day, my friends. I'm proud of you.
Your time, you were the warrior.
right, so there's JD Just Dance Vance's speech. All right, let's go see what else we got in the queue here. What up, everyone? Still got some time before I got to go out, walk my dog and run some errands and get some dinner. All right, let's see what we got in the queue. There's some stuff to watch. All right, we already watched the JD Vance speech. Let's see. I mean, there's like Mark Wayne Mullen did a speech. Maybe we'll
Trillion.
It's like 15 minutes long, but I'm tired of these MAGA morons. Let's listen to some real politicians. Here's Jim McGovern from yesterday from the Senate floor. Oh, and it looks like MAGA Mike Johnson shut everything down again for 2 weeks until like July 14th.
Seems to give a damn. So
all right, so this is Jim McGovern from yesterday from the House floor. This is titled "Even Your Own Members Are Fed Up. Jim McGovern Tears Apart GOP Over Attempt to Push Rule Vote." Let's see what's up with this.
Last night, the Rules Committee met and reported a rule, House Resolution 1398, providing for consideration of 4 measures. H.R. 8800, the National Defense Authorization Act.
Let's see. I don't want to listen to that guy. I want to listen to Jim McGovern. I like Jim McGovern. He's a solid politician. Where you at, Jim McGovern? There you are. All right, here we go.
Speaker, I want to thank the gentleman from Georgia for yielding me the customary time, and I yield myself such time as I may consume.
gentleman's recognized.
Mr. Speaker, let me begin by asking, do Republicans even have the votes to pass this rule? Because if not, then what on earth are we doing here? Wasting more time? Even your own members are fed up, Mr. Speaker. Every week wondering if someone's going to throw a fit, if Donald Trump is going to post something crazy and blow everything up, if Mike Johnson is going to bring something to the floor when he doesn't have the votes. The chaos and the dysfunction around here is unhinged. We wasted hours and hours at the Rules Committee last week debating and voting on a rule that never came to the floor. And for what? Because Congress passed a bipartisan housing affordability bill and the president had a temper tantrum, refused to sign it, and derailed everything? I mean, really? And why? Because he's still busy trying to fraudulently claim that the 2020 election was stolen, and now he wants to use that as an excuse to try to rig the midterms. Let me remind my colleagues, this is the United States of America. It is still the United States of America. We're not China or Russia or some two-bit dictatorship. This is insane what is going on here. Families cannot afford rent. Folks are priced out of buying a house. And Donald Trump is asking about the bipartisan housing is asked about the bipartisan housing bill yesterday, and he says it's so unimportant. He says it's so unimportant. And then he says, I made a lot of money with housing. The American people are not asking whether Donald Trump made a lot of money in housing. They are asking why they cannot afford it. They are asking why his economy sucks, why their prices are going up, and nobody in this Republican administration seems to give a damn. So now we're back with another rule. Maybe it passes, maybe it doesn't. Who knows anymore? This rule includes a national defense authorization bill with $1 trillion, that's with a T, $1 trillion price tag. I should tell my colleagues that we already spend more on our military than the next 6 countries combined. I mean, it's an astronomical amount. You know, over another $1 trillion on our military budget. Boy, that's so wild and extravagant. Even Dr. Strangelove would be impressed. Now, Mr. Speaker, let me get this straight. You guys want to give Donald Trump over $1 trillion for the Pentagon? Donald Trump, who started an illegal war? Donald Trump, who got 13 American service members killed because he started a war to distract from the Epstein files? That's who you want to give $1 trillion to? I mean, get real. The State of Foreign Operations Bill is a mess too. It cuts all the programs that actually prevent crises before they explode. So when the next war, famine, pandemic, or global breakdown knocks on our door, just remember it was Republicans who set the stage, just like they did when they cut funding for screwworm protection. There's a Social Security disability bill that hands more authority to an administration already targeting programs that working people rely on. And then we get to this Republican self-esteem exercise. Yet another non-binding resolution praising Republicans for the big, ugly bill. Mr. Speaker, I have a secret for you. I checked with my staff. Not a single person has called my office saying, Congressman, I think Republicans should spend time congratulating themselves on a bill they passed last year that took away my health care and is directly responsible for raising my bills. I haven't gotten a single call about that. What exactly is it that my Republican friends are congratulating themselves for anyways? I mean, you passed the big ugly bill a year ago. Since then, gas prices have gone up. Grocery prices have gone up. There's a new war in the Middle East. Healthcare is more expensive and fewer people have it. Child hunger has gone up. The tariffs are crushing farmers and driving up costs. That's what you guys are doing a victory lap over? Really? I mean, really? And never have we seen so much inequality between the rich and the poor in this country. Regular people are getting screwed while the top 0.001% saw their incomes go up by, get this, $20 million last year. You guys could not be more out of touch if you tried, Mr. Speaker. There might be hours of floor debate on these crummy bills this week, but right now we're here to talk about the Republicans' agenda, their plan for the week. And the truth is that their bill status quo nonsense the people back home are sick and tired of. The Republican agenda is a nightmare for this country. The American people are in an economic crisis right now. They are getting screwed by the policies of this administration. Their wallets and their pocketbooks are getting cleaned out by this president and this majority's billionaire first agenda. And then they turn on C-SPAN today, and God help them if they do.
Oh yeah, Donald Trump tried to do the Trump Bible, another grift. He sends all his followers like chain emails, trying to like extort money from all his cult members.
And what do they see?
Somebody opened up the Trump gold phone, and it said "Made in the Philippines" in it. All his merchandise is made in China. He's just a con man and a fraudster.
Bring to the floor. Not a bill to help deal with rising inflation and economic uncertainty. No.
All right, so this Jim McGovern is pretty awesome. I like Jim McGovern. There's just like a minute left. So after this, I got something next in the queue that's going to be good. I haven't seen it yet, but it popped up in my algorithm. But it's a press conference that happened today titled Impeaching Donald Trump. So we'll check that out.
Their focus this week is a resolution to congratulate themselves on a bill that they already passed last year. And in case they haven't noticed, for most people, things have gotten worse since then, not better. People are looking to this place and wondering whether anybody at all on the Republican side has any idea what their life is actually like. They believe that this Republican majority is just out of touch, out of sync with where regular people are. And if you look at these awful, lousy bills, the answer is obviously no. And I reserve my time. Jim?
All right, so that was Jim McGovern. All right, let's go check out this press conference titled Impeaching Donald Trump. Let's see what this is all about. All right, this happened earlier today. Let me fast forward it to where they start talking. Oh, what up, everyone? Hope you're all having a good Tuesday. Thanks for hanging out. Please hit the like button. What's up, News Troll? What's up, Bug? What's up, Joe? What's up, IFV? What's up, Dan Fries? What's up, everyone else that I missed, but I've been reading everyone's comments, so I appreciate everyone sharing your opinions. Shout out to all the mods for hanging out, and that way we can all have a nice town hall. All right, here we go. This is the beginning of this press conference here. Let me see. All right, here we go. I think this guy talks. Oh, this is the guy I think they arrested today for exercising his free speech. Oh, it's Jolly. Hey, Jolly Good Ginger's there. I see Jolly Good Ginger. That guy's cool. He's a true patriot.
For 250-year anniversary.
All right, this is the beginning of the press conference right here. It's titled House News Conference on Impeaching President Trump.
This democracy in crisis, with a counter-revolution against the Declaration of Independence. Many of the violations of the rights of the signers of the Declaration of Independence against King George III are the same acts being committed by this illegal regime today. There is one constitutional mechanism that gets us out of this in a bloodless manner, and that is Article 2, Section 4 of the Constitution, the impeachment clause. So far, the vast majority of our members of Congress have betrayed the American people in their willingness to uphold their oath to that Constitution. So far, there is precisely one congressman, a congressman who is standing with us here today, Representative Al Green of the great state of Texas, who has been willing to both file articles of impeachment and force a vote. Let me be clear. Articles of impeachment filed without a forced vote are performative. They are not meaningful. They must be voted on. That is how we move the needle. This should be happening on a daily basis. That is how you put pressure on these complicit individuals in the building behind me. Now, we are gathered here today, as you saw in the press release, because there is going to be an unprecedented act of bravery unveiled at this press conference. Something that has not been done in this administration. I spoke about the oath the individuals behind me have taken, the individuals in that building. There's also an oath very similar that our military has taken. Every single member of the armed forces to uphold and defend the Constitution of the United States of America. So far, no active duty member of the military has spoken out against Donald Trump and condemned his actions and called for his impeachment and removal. That is going to change here today. In a few moments, after our esteemed speakers also speak to you about the gravity of this moment, you are going to be acquainted with somebody who is putting everything on the line for this country. A 17-year military career, multiple medals of honor. This is the example of sacrifice that members of Congress need to see and confront. They need to confront the betrayal of every man and woman in uniform that has put their lives on the line to defend our rights and our freedom over the past 250 years. We're bringing it to their doorstep today. I want to start off with introducing one of also somebody who served this country, a veteran of the Air Force. She is the co-founder of one of our core and essential members at the Removal Coalition, Citizens Impeachment, which has been engaged in nonstop lobbying from coast to coast in every state of members of Congress to just do their damn job. I'm very grateful to be standing beside her here today and to have stood beside her in this fight for over a year now. Please join me in welcoming Air Force veteran Kira Havens.
Hi friends, can everybody hear me okay? My name is Kira Havens. I am a veteran of the United States Air Force. When I was active duty, my job was to launch nuclear missiles at the direction of the president. I was an ICBM crew commander. That institution, that weapon system, that trust that I was required to play.
Damn, that's a big responsibility. So she must have been high up there to be in charge of nuclear missiles.
In our country required a statesman at the helm. It required a president who could think beyond themselves, who could think about America and its place in the world and its place in global, as a global power.
Hey, what's up, Rick B? Shout out to Mississippi. Hope you're having a good day. Thanks for tuning in.
To its citizens. We do not have that today. For 18 months, this Congress has sat by and watched while this destructive president and his administration has engaged in tyranny, trampling the rights of individuals, of Congress itself, of our allies, while he has engaged in treason, assembling men for the purpose of revolutionizing the government by force, while he has engaged in obstruction of justice, in particular his refusal to seek justice in the case of Epstein. And they have stood by while massive corruption has taken place at every level of the government. In all of this, Congress, who has more power than the individual citizens, who has the power to initiate impeachment and pursue it on their own, to say for the good of the country, we must step up and defend the Constitution against this leader, this domestic enemy that is hollowing out the country from the inside. Instead, they have sat by and done nothing. And as we all know, all it takes for evil to triumph is for good people to do nothing. We need folks who are willing to take action, who are willing to step up, who are willing to sacrifice for the good of the country and its citizens. There are people out there who will take this step, and one of them is here with us today. I'm deeply honored to be here. Thank you so much.
Now, I know we're kind of living in a little bit of a twilight zone here where most of the activists and the people that you see here today do not understand why our typical politicians and media treat every day of this illegal regime as just another day in American politics. Why they think they can talk about impeachment like some fringe idea or like something that can be punted until after the midterms. How many people are going to die between now and the midterms in Trump's illegal war, in the concentration camps that are currently filled at 3 times the rate that they were in 1939 in Nazi Germany? How many more extrajudicial murders are going to happen on the Caribbean? How many more prosecutions illegally will be brought by this corrupt Department of Justice? How much suffering has to happen because these people do not want to do their jobs? I want to remind everyone that our mission and our campaign here at the Removal Coalition and Remove the Regime, Citizens Impeachment, you can visit us at removetheregime.com, is to pressure members of Congress to act now, not after the midterms, now, to file and force votes on articles of impeachment. There are currently 13 articles that were filed back in April when Trump made his genocidal threats against Iran by Representative John Larson of Connecticut. I want to know why Representative Larson has not invoked Rule 9 like Representative Al Green and forced a vote on those articles. We are here today to demand that Representative Larson invoke Rule 9 as soon as this House gets back in session. Now, we are very privileged today to be joined by someone who is actually one of the drafters of those articles that are currently on file in the House. He is somebody who has been instrumental in the impeachment fight, the fight for accountability, honestly, for decades, because what we're witnessing right now is the result of so many generations of impunity when it comes to the utilization of Article 2, Section 4. He works with Ralph Nader, also a tireless advocate, and I'm really honored to have him here with me today, constitutional scholar Bruce Fein.
Well, thank you for that generous introduction. I always feel compelled to alert the audience that nothing was said under oath. You're able to exaggerate. I've been involved in the impeachment process ever since Watergate in 1973. And I remember the courage at that time that I witnessed, which was an inspiration. This was October 20th, 1973. At the Justice Department, a call comes from the White House, General Alexander Haig. And he says, in the invitation of a country we dare not mention, your commander-in-chief has given you an order. Fire Archibald Cox. He's getting too close to the presidency. The Attorney General at that time was Elliot Richardson. He said, no, I'm not firing Archibald Cox. I'll resign. He was followed by William Ruckelshaus and many others. The American people wrote in 40, 50,000 telegrams a day to Congress, demanding that there be a new special prosecutor investigating the crimes of President Nixon, or he would be impeached and removed from office. It was that generation of public support that carried the day. You remember Mr. Nixon in 1972? He won 49 out of 50 states, 524 electoral votes, over 61% of the popular vote. He was out of office in 16 months. He resigned because the American people and Congress did what they needed to do. Now, the chief charge against President Nixon was obstruction of justice, which under Mr. Trump is a way of life. It's really every day. It's not a unique cover-up of a burglary of the Democratic National Committee. And I think there's an additional way to look at the imperative of impeaching and removing Mr. Trump from office, because if what he does goes with impunity, he will have set a precedent that lies around like a loaded weapon for any despot to come in and overthrow the republic. You remember he famously told the New York Times, the only check on my power, only, not the Constitution, not the rule of law, not even a supreme being, is his own moral conscience. And he acts accordingly. That's the only check. What about his oath of office? It's enshrined in Article 2, Section 2, to uphold, defend, and preserve the Constitution of the United States. Now, I think I can underscore, the urgency of our mission here today by raising the hypothetical. Suppose Donald Trump was there on July 4, 1776, and there's a choice. He can, like the 56 signatories, sign his death warrant to preserve unalienable rights to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, government by the consent of the governed. That's one choice. The other choice is to align himself with King George III. He kind of has an affinity for despots and kings anyway. He likes to dress up like them and at least have de facto a crown. Now, can anyone in this audience say with any confidence that he would have joined the signatories of the Declaration of Independence and signed his death warrant? You know what the answer is, which means that we have a president in the White House who is more Benedict Arnold than George Washington. That should be conclusive, immediate. Now, I want to say a few words about Al Green, a man of heroic.
Yeah, Benedict Donald. That's his new name. Benedict Donald.
Stature. And I'm reminded he's the one person who has stood up, forced vote on impeachment. He's lonely now, but I want to remind everyone here and Al, there are only two members of Congress who voted against the calamitous Gulf of Tonkin resolution on August 8th, 1964, Wayne Morris and Ernest Gruning. The two out of all members of Congress, yet they got it right. They're heroized. At least they got it right. And Al Green, if you have to be the first one to get it right, you've understood and recognized you're willing to take that risk. I'd like to, however, go above the members of Congress to the American people. When Benjamin Franklin exited the Constitutional Convention, he was asked by Miss Powell, well, what have you given us? A republic or a monarchy? And he responded, a republic if you can keep it, meaning we the people need to keep the republic by forcing pressure on Congress through our votes, through our advocacy. It's ultimately the American people who are going to make Congress awaken to their duty. Having worked in this institution for perhaps 50 years, now They do not have a conscience that will work on its own. They won't do the right thing unless the right thing is what the people demand. And that's where I think the ball rests, in addition to members of Congress. It's up to us, talking to our friends, talking to our family, talking in the church, in the mosque, in the synagogue, elsewhere. We have to rid this person again. He is Benedict Arnold, not George Washington. Can we survive a Benedict Arnold in the White House? So the last words go back to Abraham Lincoln in the middle of the Civil War. And the Gettysburg Address, the world will little note nor long remember what I say, but it will surely never forget what the American people and Congress do here. And he added, then, as is true today, we shall nobly save or meanly lose the bassless hope on earth. Thank you.
Thank you, Bruce. You just spoke about the need for people to show this pressure. These people don't do their jobs on their own. They only react to our pressure on them. That was the whole reason why I recognize this need for the Removal Coalition. And our esteemed guest is going to talk today so much about the power and need for people to apply this pressure. I just want to put a call out here right now to fellow activists while I have your captive attention. Again, this was the goal of the Removal Coalition in its inception. You cannot guess that when you mass mobilize people on the streets that your demand is going to be known without explicitly stating it. The will is here in this country for Trump's impeachment and removal. Over 55%, that's a historic high, rivaling the time when Nixon resigned and Trump's second impeachment after his deadly insurrection on this building. There is the will. It just has to be articulated. I'm talking to you, Ezra and Leah of Indivisible. I'm talking to the national organizers of 5051. I'm talking to anyone with massive platforms and massive reach to explicitly demand impeachment and removal through their platforms, through their mass protests. Can you imagine? We did this at the Removal Coalition. We called for 328, the last no kings, for everyone to adopt, impeach, convict, remove. Can you imagine, instead of being called no kings, if it were called impeach, convict, remove the regime? And the entire span of media coverage on those nationwide events of millions of people were telling the world that the people were demanding Trump's removal. It would be an entirely different construct for the way these members of Congress have to react. We've been giving them cover, and we need to stop doing that. And anybody in the organizing space who is not doing that is helping these people get away with their betrayal. So on that note, we have somebody today, as I mentioned, who is putting it all on the line, who is going to be living proof to you right here in the flesh that there is not a second to waste, that we cannot afford to live in our comforts and our complacency. This man is a U.S. Air Force major. He is currently on leave from his commissioned post as a logistics readiness officer in Poland. He has spent much of his 17 years in Europe, all over the globe, defending this country, working with NATO, understanding what an oath to protect and defend the Constitution means. He came to us at the Removal Coalition back in February and asked us to create this event for him, to create this unveiling, because he does not want this to be in vain. I'm talking to all of you and to everybody watching today. The question of whether or not his sacrifice, his risk of prosecution, his potential forfeiture of the benefits of an entire 17-year career in the military is worth it, is whether you follow through with the pressure that is needed on Congress to impeach, convict, and remove. Please, without further ado, join me in welcoming, it is my great honor and privilege to welcome to this conference, Major Jason Watson.
Hello, everyone. thank you for being here. First and foremost, I'd like to thank Jessica Denson for making all of this possible. Thank you, Jessica. You are a hero and a patriot. Thank you to Representative Al Green for being here for this moment and lending his support. I'm grateful for the support of the many groups represented here that believe in the message I am here to share with you. I'm also grateful beyond words for my friends and allies that have helped me navigate my way to this point, investing much of their time, effort, and advice. A tremendous thank you to the defenders of our republic community, whether they are here now with me or out there doing the work needed to restore responsible governance to our country. Lastly, a heartfelt thank you to my parents, whom I love more than they know, for doing such an incredible job raising me to be the man I am today. My name is Jason Watson. I'm an active duty major in the United States Air Force. However, who I am is immaterial. In the grand scheme of things, I'm just a nobody. What matters far more than who I am is what I have to say and the price I'm willing to pay to say it. I, Jason Paul Watson, do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic. That I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same. That I take this obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion, and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties of the office upon which I'm about to enter. So help me God. I first swore this oath over 20 years ago upon entering basic cadet training at the United States Air Force Academy in late June of 2005. I've repeated it many times over since then. The oath of office means everything to me. It is foundational to our system of governance in the United States. The oath ensures that officials of our government owe allegiance not to any individual or political party, but to our Constitution and the democratic republic it represents. Our Constitution binds us all together as Americans. Like countless veterans before me and military members serving now, I've devoted my life in service to our democratic republic, always doing my best to honor my oath and protect America against foreign threats. But the greatest threat to our democratic republic is not a foreign one. It is us, we the people, not just the left or just the right or just the center, all of us together define who we are as Americans. And like it or not, we have all played a part, myself included, in getting ourselves into this mess we are all in. The burden of that culpability is much heavier for some amongst us than others. Undeniably, and for those with a lion's share of guilt, such as those currently running the executive branch of the government, the bill must come due. But all of us have a share. For the past 18 months, we the people have allowed the highest levels of the executive branch of the federal government to violate our Constitution and their oaths to it with impunity. When the President of the United States orders military action against foreign countries, absent an emergency scenario where American interests are under imminent, dire threat, as was done with Venezuela, Cuba, and Iran, that's an unconstitutional usurpation of Congress's authority and a violation of the War Powers Clause. These violations resulted in the deaths of 13 service members and injuries of hundreds more. For this, the president and vice president must be impeached, convicted, and removed.
Yeah. Wow, this is coming from an active 17-year military guy, a service member.
When the President of the United States grants an unelected mega donor sweeping authority should shut down large swaths of our federal government.
I want to hear that part again. I'm going to rewind it a little bit.
Usurpation of Congress's authority and a violation of the War Powers Clause. These violations resulted in the deaths of 13 service members and injuries of hundreds more. For this, the president and vice president must be impeached, convicted, and removed. When the President of the United States grants an unelected mega donor sweeping authority to shut down large swaths of our federal government, along with unrestricted access to our government databases, that's an unconstitutional circumvention of Congress's advise and consent authority under the Appointments Clause and Congress's power of the purse under the Appropriations Clause. These violations exposed every American's personal sensitive data to leaks and exploitation, illegally terminated tens of thousands of federal civil servants, and crippled support for Americans for medical care and disaster preparedness, and by far most tragically, resulted in the deaths of hundreds of thousands of the world's most impoverished people with inhumanely abrupt cessation of U.S. aid. For this, the president and vice president must be impeached, convicted, and removed.
Damn, I got to make that a ringtone.
Far most tragically, resulted in the deaths of hundreds of thousands of the world's most impoverished people with inhumanely abrupt cessation of U.S. aid. For this, the president and vice president must be impeached, convicted, and removed. When the President of the United States directs the Department of Homeland Security to deny hundreds of people any due process before illegally detaining them and sending them to a foreign prison notorious for human rights abuses, that's a violation of our Fifth and Eighth Amendment rights. Most people sent to CCOT never committed any violent crimes in their entire lives, but are being defamed as violent criminals to this day as a pretext for the torture they suffered in El Salvador, paid for with U.S. taxpayer dollars. For this, the president and vice president must be impeached, convicted, and removed. When the president of the United States sponsors violence on the American people, engaged in their constitutional right to peacefully assemble and protest, that's a violation of our First Amendment rights. Pastors praying for DHS agents violently attacked without provocation. A legal observer losing an eye after being shot with a non-lethal by an ICE agent. A woman attempting to follow chaotic and contradictory DHS agent instructions fatally gunned down. A subdued man that posed no threat fatally shot after having his unbrandished firearm removed, with statements by high-ranking cabinet members also violating our Second Amendment rights. For this, the president and vice president must be impeached, convicted, and removed. There are innumerable more impeachable offenses that I could cover. Denying congressional oversight of immigrant detention centers that look increasingly like CCOT. Suing institutions like media, colleges, and law firms for billions of dollars while abusing the authorities of the executive branch agencies to extort settlements. Allowing a mega donor to advertise products on the White House front lawn. Trading pardons for donations. Levying illegal tariffs. Weaponizing the Department of Justice against political adversaries while ignoring crimes of supporters and enablers. Attempting to reverse birthright citizenship through executive order. For all of these high crimes and misdemeanors, the president and vice president must be impeached, convicted, and removed. The constitutional impeachment process is our best pathway to restore fidelity to our Constitution. This is why I'm here, standing in solidarity with Representative Green. I'm not here because I'm a Democrat or because I share his policy positions. I'm not a Democrat and know next to nothing about his policies. I am here with him because Representative Green is the only member of Congress that has demonstrated the courage and conviction to invoke Rule 9 and force a vote on articles of impeachment. If Congress followed his example, we could remove the entire Trump administration. But Congress remains unconvinced of the urgency and necessity for them to honor their oaths. So we must persuade them with our unrelenting, uncompromising civil resistance. I am calling on average Americans everywhere to peacefully exercise your First Amendment rights en masse every day until this administration is removed and our democratic republic is restored. I believe in America. I believe in us. If just a nobody like me can take a stand for our Constitution and our democratic republic, then you can too. I hope you will join me in the defense of our republic. Thank you.
Wow. What a powerful speech that young man did.
One more time. Wow. Imagine if everyone in this country, everyone even in the resistance, everyone who has the platitude in this building to go on cable news or social media and tell you how
Oh, there's the cops right there. They're going to arrest them.
bad Trump's violations of the Constitution are, had the bravery and courage of Major Watson to actually make their actions match their words. Imagine what a different situation we would be in. Once again, I'm so honored to have been here today with Major Watson and the veterans. We have a lot of wonderful people who helped make this possible, from Defenders of Our Republic, which I will remind everyone is Jason's organization that he formed, now an organization of dozens, if not hundreds of people committed to the impeach, convict, remove demand. I also want to thank About Face Veterans, Citizens Impeachment.
All right, so that's pretty much the end of that. That was cool. Hey, thanks for everyone that hung out. Appreciate it. I'm going to go walk my dog and get some dinner. Hope you guys all have a good rest of your Wednesday. Thanks for everyone that voted. Out of 865 votes, 68% of the people, the American people, have spoken, and they say Donald Trump is a failure. And that's pretty much how the midterms are going to go, guys. Keep that blue wave tsunami going. Vote out all these MAGA meat-riding politicians that have no spines and take an oath to the orange man and not the Constitution. All right, everyone. You guys all have a good day. Later, aloha, kitty. Later, kitty. Kitty lifestyle. Later, news troll. Later, Joe. Later, everyone. Later, Amber Leslie. All right, you guys all have a. And yeah, sorry if I missed anyone, but definitely appreciate everyone's opinions out there. All right, catch you guys all later. There's some hearings. I'll probably post up later and check them out. All right, peace out.